Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love, here with a special Saturday edition of AEW Dynamite Review. For those who didn't know, on Wednesday, due to the NBA playoffs, AEW Dynamite was preempted to Friday night, which was last night, uh, May 28th, 2021 edition of the review. Nonetheless, so I'm here for this review on Saturday, and of course, with Double or Nothing tomorrow night, Sunday night, I'll have a Double or Nothing review on Monday, as well as, of course, Sports City Topics on Tuesday. So, a little bit of juncture or tie up in the reviews for the next couple of days, but nonetheless, thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the podcast, like and subscribe. Uh, and nonetheless, let's get into the review, shall we? So, the biggest thing about AEW Dynamite last night was the fact that it was the first live crowd for AEW in over a year. Last time AEW had a full live crowd was March of 2020, and obviously the pandemic struck. Now, there's been like around 1,000, 2,000 fans there. So it's been increasing, but last night was first live crowd in quite some time, and the aesthetics of it all was just a joy to look at. Even if the show wasn't all that great because it was the Golem show, still was a plus for me seeing the crowds again, not having to see the stage area and the logo uh, while two wrestlers are competing, and we had an actual rampway for the entrance. So that made the show for me. Now was getting to the match, starting match of the night. Darby Allin versus Cesar Benonin. This was purely to get Darby Allin momentum prior to his tag team match with Sting against Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Uh, Prior to Double or Nothing, but this is fine for what it was. Cesar Benonin, he looks impressive. He and Ryan Nemeth, I think, are a nice, well-balanced team of two guys who are young, kind of green, but they're a well-balanced complement to each other. I don't know why Peter Avalon was there, but still, sharp but sweet, stunner, corner drop kick by Darby with a coffin drop for the win. And now, I think the crowd reaction kind of took them off of it because the volume of the theme musics were pretty low. So you can still hear it, but I think it was more about hearing the fans, which I'm all for, considering how it's been over a year. So after the match, Darby and Singh, they called out Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They came out through the tunnel. They kind of probably look. I'm not denying that Sky and Page are cutting good promos. It's just them two together is just not cutting it for me, really. So then there was an ambush on on Sting and Darby. Then Sky and Page try to pick up the scraps, and then before Sky could injure Sting, the Dark Order came out for the save. So there was that. A a a strange way to start the show when there's fans back, but obviously building towards their match on Sunday. So there's that. Then we go from that to Cody Rhodes and the Agogo, the weigh-in. Now, if you don't think that this match is feeling overblown, just watch this segment. It just, I mean, you had the American flag, and then you had the United Kingdom flag. You had Cody and Agogo. You had the factory. Cody as well had the Nightmare family with him, except Randy. He had some friends, family. It was just Paul White. He was the host of it. I would say good choice, but they had they had the weight scale in the middle of the ring. So Cody, took the scale first, and Paul White, he seemed to have some trouble dictating the scale, and that frustrated Agogo. So Cody announced that he was 218. Then next, Agogo took the scale. He weighed 219, and QT Marshall made this weird hyperbole speech. It's like, oh, he weighs 1 pound over. He's gonna win. He's gonna win. It's just at the point where I just want a good match. I want this to be over with. It just this match. I've said what I've said and went over down to the next match. So, from that to Hangman Adam Page versus Joey Janela. This was a fun match. I mean, Hangman and Janela obviously have history together. They've documented their match from Allin back in 2018. So there was that. So Janela, he was caught by Hangman on the outside, hit a fallaway slam, and then pretty much glorified squash match. Hangman, he got busted open. I didn't see how. I literally came back in my room, and then the next thing you know, Hangman's busted open and hits buckshot lariat, a brutal buckshot lariat on Janela for the win. Afterwards, Taz, who was on commentary, he introduced Brian Cage, and then Hangman was about this pretty routine. Taz calls him out, then they're distracted, and then they gang up on the opponent. So he pointed out Hook, he pointed out Ricky Starks in the crowd. And then Hangman told Cage right to his face, if you're mad enough, why don't you leave your cronies away at Double or Nothing, and that way it's just one-on-one. So Brian Cage accepted and saying there's going to be no Team Taz members at Double or Nothing. It's just going to be Hangman versus Brian Cage one-on-one. Should be a fun match. So then a funny thing happened which confused me during the show. So John Mox, they were about to play a promo of John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. So it starts, and then next thing you know, you go to a commercial. So I was confused. I thought there was a problem with my TV, but what happened was the Young Bucks, they tweeted out because they changed their bio on Twitter nearly every day. They tweet out, or they put in their bio, that they were the ones that told the truck to cut to commercial during that John Moxley Eddie Kingston promo. So that was a funny trick. So John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, they were outside in a pre-tape promo. They were outside, and they were bearing the Dior Jordans that they stole from the Young Bucks last week. So Moxley cut a good promo. Talked about they need the titles, how they're been pit bulls, and those titles are a pair of T-bone steaks that they want. Kingston talked about how they'll quit, and how Moxley said he trusts his man with his life, and just a solid promo. We're leading towards a match at Double or Nothing, which should be interesting. So then we had Orange Cassidy's decision. So Tony Schiavone was in the ring. He was about to introduce Orange Cassidy, but then Pac came out, gave his sincerest apologies, talked about, they were expecting someone else. That Double or Nothing Orange Cassidy is irrelevant, and that the one to beat Kenny Omega will be him, the bastard. So then Don Callis talked about or appeared on the Titantron, and he ran down Pac, talked about how Omega was there. Then Kenny tried to jump Pac, and he was about to hit the one wing angel, but then all of a sudden, Orange Cassidy's music hit. He came out with Best Friends, Chris Statlander, so he came out. Omega dropped Pac, and Orange Cassidy came out with an envelope that said for Kenny. So Omega opened the envelope. There he talked about, it's probably that those papers that Callis had a copy of. So Omega gets a paper cut. He opens the envelope, and then it's the shreds of the document that they gave Orange Cassidy to sign away his rights for the title match at Double or Nothing. So these shreds are being blown away, and Orange Cassidy gives Omega the orange punch. He tries to get up the title. Pac stops him, and then Orange Cassidy lays the orange punch on Pac. Holds up the AEW title and gives a Orange Cassidy thumbs up. So it should look clearly Omega is going to win the title Sunday, but nonetheless, there we go. So one bit of news though. So for those who know that Will Ospreay, who was the New Japan, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, he suffered a neck injury and forced to relinquish his title. So it's going to be Okada versus Shingo Takagi at the next New Japan Pro Wrestling event. And Omega, because I was hoping we could potentially get Ospreay versus Omega, but Omega laid out a tweet saying, I believe that said, Ospreay tried to fill my shoes, but he couldn't. And look where he is now. So, nice little dagger at Will Ospreay. Although he said he's striving to return at the end of the year, we'll see, but best of recovery for Will Ospreay. So, and the talks of New Japan Pro Wrestling and WWE will be completely stupid. I don't get why it's happening, but if it does happen, it'll be a dagger for New Japan Pro Wrestling, basically. So then we had Jade Cargill versus Kilynn King. Short match. We found out that Mark Sterling is now the manager of Jade Cargill, the former lawyer of MJF. Interesting, I will say. But this was a short match, a squash match. I like Kilynn King, but this saw Cargill. She landed her chicken wing press slam for the win. There's all that. So then we get to the next match. Again, this is mostly squash matches leading towards pay-per-view. So then we had Miro versus Dante Martin. Obviously, they documented how Dante's brother Darius is injured, so he's going to be solo for a bit. But we all kind of knew, so Miro, he landed the game over on Dante for the win. Afterwards, Jake Roberts and Lance Archer came out to cut a promo on Miro. Then Archer, he went to the ring trying to attack Miro, but they were separated by officials. More leading to this match at Double or Nothing should be. I'm curious, really curious how the outcome is going to turn out because both competitors can't afford a loss. So we'll see. Then we had the celebration of Hikaru Shida's reign. She came out over 1 year of being the AEW Women's Champion. So they came out and they presented her with a new Women's Championship, which will be Britt Baker's come Sunday night. So she came out, she addressed the fans, talked about how when she won the title, they weren't there, but now they're here, and this title is for them. So then Britt Baker came out, talked about her interview with Jim Ross last week. Short promo, nonetheless, she said that how when she grew up, they mostly talked about 316. But now, this era, they'll be talking about DMD. So, there's that. Britt Baker walked off. Shida, she stuck out there for a few more minutes with the fans. So, there was that. Then we have what was basically the main event. The Dark Order, Evil Stu Grayson versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Was a good match, but again, I'm just not interested in Ethan. I mean, look at where the Dark Order was last year. They were top contenders in the division. Now they're losing to Sky and Page. It just doesn't register to me. Just a good match, though. Dark Order hit their Cannonball 450 combination for near fall, but in the end, Ethan Page hit the Eagle's Edge on Uno for the win. So there was that. The Darby came out with an army of guys wearing stink masks, and then Sky took a shot at that one of them, and he wasn't budging. They revealed himself as Sting, so then they retreated. Interesting. So then, the last segment of the Go Up Show, the celebration of the Inner Circle, hosted by Eric Bischoff. It's always good to see Eric Bischoff in these segments. So he introduced the Inner Circle. They came out, they all said some words. Santana, he thanked the fans. He said, "Oh, we've done some pretty cool shit here." Hager took the microphone, talked about, or because they showed a montage of the Inner Circle's best moments with Orange Cassidy, with Moxley against the Elite, etc. So Hager talked about the hard times, how they've always come back, how the times where a piece of flesh or something was taken from them that made them better and stronger, and they've come back from that. So Sammy took the microphone. He talked about what they have meant to him, what they have added to his career, how when he first came here, he was wearing a freaking panda hat. So they all embraced, they all hugged. They gave their middle finger pose. And then MJF came on the Titantron. They were in the Jags Stadium. And they talked about how they better get here before the Iceman, the Malenko, was there. He was beat up. It is extra cold. So the Inner Circle, they ran to the Jag Stadium from Needles Place, but it was an ambush by the Inner Circle, or the Pinnacle. And they were attacked. They brawled into Jag Stadium. FTR hit a pair of pile drivers off stands, threw two tables on Santana Ortiz. Jericho was beat down with Hager, Tuck as well. So MJF and the Pinnacle, they finished with their pose. Talked about the end of the Inner Circle and how when you're the Pinnacle, you'll always be on top. So the graphics of the Pinnacle came on the scoreboard. It was a cool piece. And that was how Dynamite went off the air. So, an okay show. I mean, the Golem show for Double or Nothing. Again, the fans, they really added. It was basically a plus for me because just seeing the fans, could have been better, obviously, but, the Golem show is what it is. Nonetheless, I'm expecting a very fun Double or Nothing, considering the fans in Dana's place should be rocking. nonetheless, that was the episode for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. I see you all back on Monday with my Double or Nothing review. So thank you. Hope you all be safe. Be back Monday and peace.